Here's the new book I just published about my father, David Caftori, the artist. Zichrono livracha. He died 18 years ago, which means chai in Hebrew, which means alive, because he's still alive within us who love him. So this is the right side where it's in Hebrew, and this is the left side translated into English. So I'll go over the English side now, and hopefully we'll have another launch of this book when I'm back in Israel, or even here in America, we'll see. So here I am with my parents, and dedicated to the memory of my father and to all his loving students and friends. Here I am with him. He loved me much, and no wonder I loved him back so much. So here is a little biography of my dad, and it continues by my own biography in short, my childhood. Here you see the whole family, the last picture of my father alive with my brother and I and our families. The only person missing is the little baby that was not born yet, Shiri, of my brother. So here is a wonderful picture I love from my childhood in Ramat HaChayal in Israel, near Tel Aviv. We lived in a beautiful house and surrounded by a field and garden. Here is my new family with my husband and 3 children. So I'm talking a lot about anecdotes of my father's life. Here I talk about the animals we used to have, and here's Georgie, the cat that my father loved. So it's a lot of interesting things. I'm talking about his dedication to Israel's formation. Here he is in the British Brigade. He was in the Palmach, in the Haganah. He fought in the army. Actually, he liberated with my mom the south, the Negev, when it was under siege. And after the road that they freed, they called me Netiva, which means path in Hebrew. Here are my parents visiting us for our youngest Carolyn's bat mitzvah. So they visit us here in Chicago, where all my daughters were born. Here is a poem my father wrote to my mom when he was in Paris in the 60s, before we all moved there. And here's 2 letters by my daughters dedicating to my father. And here's actually a painting of my parents by Ashley, my daughter. So here are some paintings, mostly of my father, an explanation of each underneath. So here it's music child and him in the British Army, British Brigade. Here it's a drawing of his. Here's a cement work of mine from last year. Here's a drawing in ink and watercolors by my father. Here's an etching by me. A pastel work by my father, and watercolor by him again. Watercolor and ink. Watercolor in ink by my father. Here's pastel work by my father. And again, watercolor and ink, something that he loved to do. And now a few of mine. That's acrylic and ink. Acrylic and ink. And this is my multimedia kind of work. And here also, multimedia by me. And here's by my father. So I think here's the Hebrew side starting. And but here's also translating into English of the work that Michal Doron did. She's a graphologist, and she analyzed the letters, the handwriting of my father, and actually that started the whole idea of the book. She was impressed by him, and she told me you have to write a book, and that's how the book was born. So in the Hebrew side, it's everything that I was saying, only in Hebrew, and some extra pictures, one of his students, and our paintings, another one of his students with him and me. Here he is with his students that love him till today. Here too, and what his students are saying about him. Here again, my daughters and what they say about my father in Hebrew this time. Here's little Irene, first baby I had with my father. And here the whole family with my brothers, in my brother's bar mitzvah. And here's another poem he wrote in Paris when he was away from us for 2 years until we joined him when I turned 14. So it's a poem about me and my brother. And again, in the field behind our house in Ramat HaChayal. And here, all four of us in Paris in our living room, which was also his studio and our dining room, everything. Again, my parents and me as a child. Here's my father in the British Brigade, the Jewish Brigade. And that's the beginning of the Israeli side. And here my dedication in Hebrew and his drawing. And the name in English, the name in Hebrew. And my picture with him when I was 10 years old. And that's it. That's the book. And hopefully I will have another launch and you can buy it. It's, I have a few books here in America if people want. And I will sell it in bookstores in Israel, if anybody chooses to. The Little Prince and Tolat Sfarim, the bookworm. And by the way, this is the full drawing I did that was taken to have the cover of the book on the right side. And the whole family is in here. So you can see my father, my mother, each of the girls, and our animals, and even me in there, and it's interesting. Okay, my father again, my mother, my husband, etc., etc. Hope you like the reading. Enjoy the book. Thank you.